So you have to double click on it, wait for it to finish all the shader. Once it is open, you have to click on games and then select virtual reality template, and choose a directory where you want to place your project and give it a name. So for this one, let's for example give it homestay VR. We don't need the starter content, so just go ahead and click on create. So the first thing we need to do here is enable the required plugins. So for this project, we are going to use GPU Light Mask. In order for that to work, you need to come into project setting by opening the edit menu and then clicking on project setting. And in the search box, you have to search for support hardware ray tracing. And when you see this option, just enable it, and if it requires for you any prompt, just click yes. All right, and then click on the map icon again, and then come into edit plugins, and the first plugin we need to enable is GPU light mask. Okay, and if you enable it and get a prompt, just go ahead and click yes. Then search for Datasmith, and then enable import Datasmith importer. All right. So that's it. Click on restart now. It will probably do a lot of shader compilation. So wait for it to finish. Once it is back, for the GPU Lightmask to work, uh, the first time when you install the engine, you need to come into the installation directory. Okay, in my case it's F UE Oculus 54, and then you need to open uefire.sln file. So just double click on it. Okay, and then in the programs section on right, you need to search for Unreal Lightmask. Okay, so just come down until you find Unreal Lightmask. Just keep coming down. Okay, here we go. Unreal Lightmask. So just right click on it and click on build. When we click on build, you will see some progress down here, and when it finishes, you will see build succeeded. Once that happens, just close Visual Studio and the GPU Lightmask will be ready to go. Okay, so once that is done, you need to come into file menu, click on new level and select empty level and click on create. Okay, uh, then go ahead and click on this green plus icon, come into Datasmith and click on file import. Okay, and then you need to go into the directory where you have placed your Datasmith files. First, we are going to add the structure .u Datasmith. So open it. In the content folder, right click and click on new folder, and let's name it homestay. Okay, and then in the homestay folder, right click, create a new folder and name it Datasmith. All right, so when Datasmith is selected, click on OK, and from the Datasmith file we only need the geometry and material and textures, so they are already selected. Open the light map section, and for the minimum and maximum light map resolution, select 128 in both, and make sure the generate light map UVs option is enabled. Click on import, wait for it to finish importing, and once it is imported, the first thing you need to do is come into window menu and click on place actors. It will show this panel, and in this panel search for importance volume. So if you write importance volume, you will find this light mouse importance volume thing. Just drag and drop it into the level, and while when it is selected, and by the way, if you do not see this pivot, just press G on your keyboard and then press it again, and it will appear. All right. So once light mass importance volume is selected, go into the top view and press F on your keyboard. Okay, and then you need to scale it so it covers the entire house. All right. So if you press R on your keyboard, it will give you the scale pivot, and then go ahead and scale it. By the way, this is the moving snap, and this is the scale snap. So in this case, we do not need any of them. So just disable them, and then you can move it a little here and then scale it in the y-axis as well. Okay. All right, so once you scale it in the top view, then you have to go into front view so that we can scale it in the z-axis. Oh, uh, if you at any point select anything else accidentally, just press Ctrl Z on your keyboard and it will revert to the light mask. Okay, and then just move it a bit up. Okay, and then we can come back into the perspective. All right, so once we place the unreal light mask, the next we can search for portal in play sectors and drag and drop it into the level. Portal is something that you need to place on all the openings in your scene. It will just allow the light, outside light, to come efficiently inside. Okay, so just place it on all the openings you have. Okay, make sure it covers the entire window. Drag it up, scale it a bit. So in this scene, we only have two openings, one this and this one here. All right, so just make a copy of this, and the way you can do it is by pressing Ultra on your keyboard and uh, move it in the y-axis. Okay, so once the copy is made, what you can do is press Shift on your keyboard and move it in y-axis. So uh, if you press Shift on your keyboard, it will move the camera along with the object as well. Alright, so move it until it is placed in here. Okay, next we need to add a skylight. So search for skylight in plus actors panel and drag and drop skylight. Not the AI skylight, but the skylight in the level. All right, and make it static. While skylight selected in the details panel, you will see this mobility option, and then it has three different modes. So just select static from here, and where it says source type, you need to select SLS specified cube map. Okay, and what we are going to place here is to go into your Chrome browser and search for HDRI heaven, and then click on this link, click on outdoor, and then come into the overcast section. In here we need to look for HDRI images that are the brightest and which does not have hard shadows. So if we come down, uh, okay, we can try this urban courtyard as well, and I find this one to be perfect because it has softened the shadows and it looks pretty brightened. Okay, so just go ahead and click on it, and you can select 2K resolution from here and select HDR from here, and then click on download. Okay, place it somewhere. All right, then open the containing folder, and then inside Unreal you need to create a folder in the homestay directory. Name it as textures, and then with the folder containing HDRI image opened, you can drag and drop it inside the content browser. Okay, so once that is done, uh, when skylight is selected, you can drag and drop the HDRI map in the cube map section of the skylight. Okay, so once that is done, you can come into the unlit mode, and let's have a look at the openings. So if we look at the opening, this is the plain mesh that is probably used as a glass, okay, but as you can see, it does not have a glass material. It shows plain, default unreal grid. So what we can do is, if you right click on the homestay and create a new folder, let's name it is materials. Okay, and in here just create a material, name it m underscore glass underscore master, and then maximize it by keeping it here, and then select the blend mode to be transparent, and press 3 on your keyboard and double click on this black section and choose white color. Plug it into the best color option and select m underscore glass underscore master. So select this panel, come down a little bit, and where it says lighting mode, so you have to select surface forward shading. Okay, as soon as you select it, the other options including metallic, specular, roughness will get enabled. All right, so then you need to press S on your keyboard and then left click with your mouse. It will create this scalar parameter. Go ahead and name it metallic. Okay, and then we can keep the default value as 1 and then plug it in the metallic section. Press S on your keyboard and left click with your mouse to create another scalar parameter, and let's name it roughness. We can keep the roughness is, for example, 0.3. Plug it into the roughness section, create another parameter and name it as opacity, and we can keep the default value as, for example, 0.2. Plug it into the opacity section. Okay, so once we have our pretty basic glass material, so go ahead and save it. Close the master material, and then in the content browser, right click on m glass master and click on create material instance. Name it, for example, m underscore window glass. But has an important point you need to note: never use window as a name in any of your asset, because this creates problems when you start packaging, because window is a restricted name that you cannot apply, that you cannot use in your assets. So in this case, maybe we can name it win glass instead of writing full window. We can say it win glass. Okay, so once you create the instance with the planar mesh selected, you can see that it does not have any material in here. So with win glass selected in the content browser, just click on this arrow icon to apply the glass material on this plane. Okay, so this is done from this side. Let's do it on the other side as well. Okay, so just select it and apply the material on it. All right, so once that is done, we can start backing the light to see how the skylight is affecting the scene. So just click on build menu and select GPU light mask, disable the real time option, disable show progress bars, and then click on build lighting. Wait for the lighting to finish packing. Alright, so once the light is baked, you can close the GPU light mask and select lit view mode from here. Alright, so as you can see, it's a pretty dark scene, and the floor is complete black. So let's see what's the reason for that. Select it, and in the details panel, double click on the static mesh icon. It will open the properties in the static mesh editor, and in here, let's check if it has a correct light map UV. So click on the UV option and select UV channel 1. Okay, so as you can see, it has a perfect UV light map. Let's disable the UV preview and maximize this. Come down in the details panel in static mesh editor and open the general section. So this one, and make sure that light map coordinate index is set at 1. Okay, so this is fine. So light map is not the problem for this pitch black effect. So then next let's look at its material. So if we open its material and then go into its parent, you can see in the preview that it's behaving weirdly. Okay, so this is probably because of the weird nodes that datasmith plugin has created. So what we can do is that you can clean up the material by deleting everything. So just go ahead and delete all you can delete, or what you can do is just press Ultra on your keyboard and unplug the metallic, specular, roughness and normal options. Okay, and then i- click on clean graph and then select cleanup. What it will do is anything which is not being utilized in this node will get deleted. All right, next up, instead of using all these nodes, let's just plug the diffuse texture directly in the best color slot, and then go into clean graph section and click on cleanup. All right, so now we only have this texture, and although it's not the perfect texture, if we open it, like if once this is selected on the details panel here, you can double click on the texture to open it. Okay, and as you can see, this is just useless, but we are going to replace it sooner. But for now, let's keep it here and then select the material panel, and in here in the search in the details panel, search for fully rough and enable this option. Okay, and once that's done, go ahead and save this asset and then close the material editor. As soon as we do that, you can see that our floor is back, although it's the texture is not good, but we are going to change it later. All right, next up, let's search for sky, and we need this pp sky sphere. So go ahead and drag and drop it in the level. All right, and with the sky sphere selected in the details panel, come down, and in sun height you need to take it up to 1. Okay, so it will just give us a sky on the outside. All right, and after that you have to search for post process, and we need this post process volume. So drag and drop it in the level, and with the post process volume selected, come down until you find infinite extent. So just select that option and then go up, and in the exposure section you need to select enable metering mode as well as exposure compensation, And in the metering mode, you need to select manual, and in exposure compensation, you need to use a higher number until something is visible. So let's try which number works for us. For example, let's try 10. Yeah, 10 is gives us something at least, and then let's try for 11. We can actually increase this number, and it will make the scene look better and much brighter. uh, but we are not going to make the scene brighter by increasing the exposure, because this setting is not going to work on a MetaQuest, because it's a Android platform, and Android does not support post processing settings. So we need to keep it at 11, and the goal here is to match the post process setting to make the scene look as similar as possible to how it looks on MetaQuest, and we will talk about it in a moment. But for now, let's search for REF, and then we need this box reflection capture. So we need to drag and drop it in the middle of the scene. All right, and once it is selected, go into the top view, and you can see that we are not seeing any bounds, like its boundaries are not visible. So if that happens, you need to come into the perspective view again and press G on your keyboard. Okay, and then go into the top view, and you can see that now we see the reflection sphere, reflection capture bounce. Okay, so we need to place it in a way so it covers the entire home. Okay, and let's check in the front side as well, and let's keep it at eye height. All right, and then let's get back into the perspective view. Okay, so once that is done, we need to feed more light into the scene, and there are multiple ways of doing that. The first method that we are going to use is to trick the light mask into using brighter colors instead of darker colors. So what I mean, you will know what I mean by that in a moment. So select the floor mesh and then double click to open its material. Then go into its parent, click the instance for now. In here, right click in this area and search for light mask replace, and then select this node. So feed this texture into the real time slot, and for the light mask, create a, like you can either create a vector by pressing 3 on your keyboard and then clicking with your left mouse. Okay, or you can create a scalar parameter as well. So by pressing S on your keyboard, you can left click with your mouse to create a scalar parameter, and we can name it as light mask value. All right. So in Unreal Engine, 0 means black and 1 means white. Anything in the middle, for example, 0.5 means gray color. Okay. Once you create the scalar parameter for light mask value, plug it in the light mask, and then plug this light mask replace in the base color. All right. Okay, and so let's give the light mask value as 0.9. So imagine one is pure white. Okay, so we are just keeping it a bit lower than white color. All right, so now what this node is doing, light mask replace, is that in real time what we see inside the scene here, it will be showing us this texture. Okay, however, for light backing, in the light mask it will feed this information. Okay, and since when the system backs lighting, it's all about light bounces, so it throws the light rays, and the lighting rays, when they collide with different surfaces, they take these surfaces information and bounce back to other surfaces. So if the surfaces itself are, darker, or for example if they have darker texture or color, uh, the the bounces the information that those bounces will take from these surfaces will also be dark. Okay, so this is a great node through which you can fake the GPU light mask to think that these surfaces are actually brighter. Okay, so let's see what impact it creates on the lighting. So once you save this, close it, and for reference, let's actually take a screenshot in the current um position. All right, and then go into build, click on GPU light mask, disable the real time option, and build lighting again. You can click yes for it, and no, it also works, so it doesn't matter actually. All right, so now as you can see, if we compare this to the screenshot we taken earlier, do you notice the difference? And this is only by using the light mask replace node. Especially you look at the ceiling part here. In this screenshot, everything on the ceiling is pure black, but here we have more information. Next up, as I said earlier, we need to match the viewport look to as much as possible to how it will look on the MetaQuest. To do so, you have to come in settings, and then in preview platform, click on Android Vulkan Mobile. It will compile some shaders, but let it compile. If we set the preview level at Android Vulkan, it will show us how the scene will look on Android Vulkan, essentially on MetaQuest. Alright, now if I disable it and then enable it, you can see that apart from some ambient occlusion effect and contrast, the exposure is almost same. Okay, which is good. And now go into the post process volume. So just select write post in World Outliner, select the post process volume, and here we need to disable all the post processing effects that are not supported on MetaQuest. So let's disable them one by one. So open bloom, and in intensity make it at 0. All right, close bloom, then make sure chromatic aberration is not used, and then come open lens flares and set the intensity at 0. Close it, image effects, enable vignette intensity and make it 0. Okay, then close it, and then come down until you find ambient occlusion. In here, just make the intensity 0. All right, and that's it. Next, we have to increase light map resolution for these objects based on what is required. So to do that, if you click here on the lid, you can go into the optimization view modes and choose light map density. Alternatively, you can toggle between light map density view mode and the lit mode by pressing Alt F4 on your Alt F4 on your keyboard. So pressing F4 will turn the view mode back to lit, and if you press Alt 0, it will turn the view mode to light map density. Okay, so this is a view mode which shows us whether the light map density of these objects are correct. So anything red means that the lighting resolution of this object is pretty high, and anything blue means that the lighting resolution of these objects is pretty low. So in this case, for example, let's select this wall, and I'm thinking that uh, uh, all the walls of the entire house is one object. Okay, so they certainly need a higher resolution. Let's select it, and then if you come into bottom in the details panel, find lighting section, and then as you can see here, the default it has is 128. So just select the override toggle, and then you can give it whatever resolution you want. So for example, for now, let's give it 512, and let's see if, yeah, so if you give it 512, you can see that it turns green. So you have to basically do this to all the objects. Any object which is not green, you have to increase its resolution. For example, let's select this one, and let's give it a resolution of 256. Okay, so 256 is still not looking good. So for example, maybe let's give it 400. Yeah, 400 seems better. The ceiling, let's by the way, let's press Alt 4 on the keyboard. I found here that the ceiling of different areas were actually present. It was not showing in 3ds Max, but as you can see, it has came along with the scene here. So we can go ahead and delete this ceiling. Okay, or maybe we can keep it and just hide it, so maybe it will help us with the light leaks. Okay, anyways, let's get back to light map density view mode by pressing alt 0 on keyboard, and then just select all the objects that are blue and increase their resolution. All right, so as you can see, we still have like two floors here. So let's go ahead and delete one of them. Okay, so now let's move it to confirm. Yeah, so this is the only floor now, and let's get back to light map density view mode by pressing Alt 0, and then while the floor selected in the details panel, uh, toggle the override light map resolution, and then let's give it 512 actually. Yeah, 512 works well. All right, and let's try to find, okay, so this one, let's give it 256 and see if it works. Yeah, it can work for now. And let's for this cabinet, let me actually show you a method that you can use to increase the lighting quality without increasing the resolution. Okay, so check the checker box you see here indicates the density of the light map. Okay, so smaller the checker box means higher the lighting resolution. Okay, so now if we come up in the details panel while this cabinet is selected. Okay, and let's go into the unlit mode, and if we double click on the static mesh here, and if we click on the UV option and select UV channel 1, let's maximize this. Okay, and so you can come down until you find build settings, open it, and then here where it says minimum light map resolution, let's uh, put 256 here. All right, and then notice how the UV layout changes when we click apply changes. Okay, so let's click apply changes, but before doing so, I would like to take the window on this side. Okay, because I want to show you how the size of the checker also changes. So let's get back to the light map density view mode as well. Okay, and now let's click on apply changes. Okay, did you notice that the light of sorry, the size of these checker got a bit smaller, and this happened because essentially our light map got uh, enhanced. Okay, so if you want to enhance your light map, you can do so by just putting a higher resolution here and then clicking on apply changes. If we put 512 resolution here and apply changes, it's not going to do any better because uh, there isn't much space that we can utilize in the UV layout. Okay, all right. So once that is done, um, let's also increase its resolution. Okay, so just toggle this and let's give it 256 resolution. Okay, and just keep looking for all the objects that are blue. In this case, I think no object is blue anymore, which is good. Let's get back to the lit view mode by pressing Alt F, Alt 4 on your keyboard. All right, and let's back the lighting again. Come into the build menu, click on GPU light mask, and disable the real time option. Okay, and make sure the GI samples are set at 256. Okay, and then just click on build lighting. Okay, so when the light bag is complete, you can see that the splotches here are gone because we increased the lighting resolution of this object. All right, and so let's look on the other side. It looks fine. So the skylight, and we are also going to introduce directional light in a bit, but these lights are only going to push lighting until a point. Okay, so as you can see, this corridor is pretty dark. All right, and then if we go into the bathroom, it's also pretty dark. So the trick is to uh, in order to achieve a natural light feel, we have to introduce skylight and directional light to get the natural look from the windows. Okay, and then in the areas where natural light cannot approach, we can put spotlights and do the artificial lighting to get rid of the darkness.